We will now continue to live record the public comment session. As a reminder, your recorded comments will be distributed to the MTA board and will be posted to our board meeting webpage and YouTube channel. The first speaker is Matt McMillan, followed by Shivani Ishwar.
Good morning. My name is Matthew McMillan. I represent TWU Local 100 from the Division of Car Equipment. My department consists of the men and women who maintain and repair New York City transit rail cars every day. We know that the board is voting on a fare increase today, and as you bring in more revenue from the riding public, we also want you to pay attention to what Kawasaki rail car workers said in a new report on their jobs about building and maintaining our subway cars. Hourly wages among surveyed workers are 16% below industry average, and more than half of all the workers surveyed were temporary and have reported an hourly wage of $4.66 less than the permanent workers. Our members have the utmost respect for Kawasaki workers who lack union protections, and we work side by side with them at yards and shops every day. But when it comes to the corners that are cut at Kawasaki, our members see the impact on the subway cars, and the riding public feels the impact. The MTA can play a role in ensuring Kawasaki delivers not just train cars, but good, safe, and fair jobs. You can start by publicly releasing the data you have about Kawasaki wages in regards to the current $4.5 billion contract for the R211s. Kawasaki claims that this data is a trade secret, but that is intellectually dishonest and outrageous. They even admitted that releasing this data would agitate their workers. The MTA can take steps to resolve the problems at Kawasaki by urging the company to negotiate an agreement with Jobs to Move America and their community partners. And when you bid out the contracts for the new subway cars and the new commuter rail cars, we urge you to use the U.S. employment plan in this process. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks. Our next speaker is Shivani Ishwar, followed by Philip Valenti.
My name is Shivani, and I'm a member of the New York Alliance Against Racist and Political Oppression. I'm here to oppose the fare hike and to demand cops off the subway. I have heard over and over again from members of our community that they don't feel safe on public transit and the police are not helping. Whether it's the NYPD, the MTA PD, or the National Guard, the cops don't protect us. They're there to bully and intimidate us, and when they can't do that, they do absolutely nothing. And nowhere is this clearer than on the subway. In the past few years, the city has ramped up the number of police and National Guard on the subway by the thousands, and they intimidate, harass, and attack poor and marginalized New Yorkers rather than do anything to keep us safe. Last September, at the Sutter Avenue station in Brooklyn, when cops thought one man may have evaded the fare, they shot 4 people, including 2 people who just had the bad luck to be at the station at the time. The incident resulted in multiple serious injuries and multiple hospitalizations. I don't know how much their medical bills cost, but I bet you it's a lot more than $290. And last December, when a homeless woman was burned alive on the subway in a cruel act of violence, multiple cops were caught on camera walking past and doing nothing to help. So no wonder people don't feel safe on public transit, and no wonder flooding the system with cops isn't helping. We deserve a system where the police are held to account when they put our lives in danger, where the money we now spend on cops gets redirected to making the fare free for everyone instead of charging more for worse service. We demand cops off the trains and safe subways for all. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks. Our next speaker is Philip Valenti, followed by Wendy Smith.
Philip Valenti, president of TWU, Local 106, TSO. Today, I'm sounding the alarm and requesting a public hearing of the serious safety crisis being created by the MTA due to your decision to eliminate 26 bus dispatches from the street and relocate all of them to the BCC Bus Command Center. Removing the dispatches from the street will immediately put the riding public and the bus operators in a more dangerous position. The dispatcher is the only representative from the MTA that is out in the streets with the public, answering questions, helping the old to the young with all kinds of issues such as being lost property, directions, holding a bus for someone running to make it, calming angry riders in bus stops when buses are running late. When standing in a bus stop with a badge and a radio, they are the deterrent that prevents bad things from happening. For the bus operator, the dispatchers are the first responders. When a bus breaks down, when there's an accident, or when an operator faces a threat, it's a supervisor who shows up first. They keep the operators and our riders safe, and they stabilize dangerous situations. To make matters much worse, the command center, where they will be assigned, has a radio system that fails almost every day. And that radio is the only way the BCC can communicate with the operator. So if the BCC radio is not working, there's no way to get in touch directly with the bus or the operator. And that's extremely dangerous to the riding public and to the bus operators. The BCC equipment cuts out, video freezes, communication lags, and while the system fails, our riders and our operators are left exposed. This decision by the MTA puts everyone at risk, riders waiting for help that doesn't arrive, leaving operators forced to handle dangerous situations alone. This foolish move by the MTA is stripping away safety and will cause preventable incidents to turn into disasters. I'm calling on the MTA to hold public hearings and reverse this decision. Technology can help us, but it cannot replace the human presence of trained supervisors in the field. Safety must come first for our riders and for bus operators.
Thank you for your remarks. We are using the space.
All right.
Thank you for your advice. Our next speaker will be Wendy Smith, followed by Antihe Ellerman, followed by Charlton D'Souza.
Good morning. My name is Wendy Smith, and I'm here as part of the Save the Ferry group to restore service and reform service on the Newburgh-Beacon ferry. While I've spoken at various other meetings, including committee and board meetings, I want to bring up the idea that post-COVID, Metro North ridership numbers are only now just recovering. But no one has surveyed the ferry, who is also recovering. This is a very crucial period, and it takes a long time for numbers like that to recover after a worldwide pandemic. I'd also like to point out that the MTA understandably has metrics that the MTA board uses. That is ridership numbers. But that is a very narrow lens by which one needs to look at the situation. What we're talking about here is economic development and recovery for the west side of the river. Currently, there is no real link on transportation to get to Metro North. The ferry was a vital connection and link to a regional transportation center. We've had 4 Momentum Fund projects here in Newburgh actually approved and ready to go, as well as transit-oriented development in Beacon. These rely upon transit. The ferry is a vital link. Without that, we are going to have road congestion, climate issues, and all sorts of other problems, and people moving here looking for that transportation. And it's not going to be there. Quickly, I'd like to mention the bus, which the MTA is looking towards. The bus often takes 2 to 3 times the amount of time. It is not ADA accessible. It is difficult to find. It adds congestion. Beacon will certainly not be happy about more cars, more congestion, more problems. Thank you for your time, and I hope that you deeply reconsider this position by the MTA.
Thank you for your remarks. Our next speaker will be Antihe Ellerman, followed by Charlton D'Souza, followed by David Kupferberg.
Good morning, and thank you very much for hearing my concerns. My name is Antihe Ellerman, and I live in Newburgh. Both my partner and I have used the ferry regularly commuting to New York City for work. It's been great for us to not have to drive at the end or the beginning of a very long day. We've been disheartened to see it canceled earlier this year, especially considering that there's redevelopment planned, additional housing and proximity of the waterfront. I strongly believe that there's a great demand, witnessing people coming up on weekends in particular to upstate, to Newburgh, or rather to Beacon, I should say. I think if there was a ferry at hand, we would see some of that traffic, revitalizing our community, keeping our businesses open. And I think it is the kind of investment that we desperately need at this time. Thank you so much for hearing my comments.
Thank you for your remarks. Our next speakers will be Charlton D'Souza, followed by David Kupferberg and Eric McClure.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Charlton D'Souza. I'm the president of Passengers United. We do not support the fare increases. And furthermore, the situation with Omni, the fact that you guys are getting rid of coin payments on buses is going to devastate our seniors. Many of them are unable to pay the $5 surcharge to buy an Omni card at retail stores and the $2 fee at Omni vending machines that you will now be imposing. Furthermore, there have been a lot of issues. The fact that we don't have the Atlantic Ticket Weekly or a City Ticket Weekly, despite all the meetings with elected officials in Albany, is a bit ridiculous now. And as far as the LIRR monthlies, the pricing was worked out with congestion pricing for Zone 3. It should have been $198. That's what the elected officials voted on. You guys are planning to increase that, and that is ridiculous. And we're going to fight that tooth and nail. And we're even going to speak to a lawyer to see if we can sue you guys on that. Furthermore, you guys have a system that you'll have with the ticketing, with the monthly tickets that nobody even uses. It's called Uni-Ticket. Why not combine that and call that a city ticket and reduce the price on that? But again, what you're doing with the one-way tickets, making it expire at 4 a.m. is unacceptable. And that period, the grace period, should be extended for at least 48 hours so people can buy tickets in advance. Again, we're not happy with the MT. I'm not happy with this process. We all registered exactly at 8:25 a.m. to speak. Yet I know for a fact people were allowed to come in the meeting and testify, and we all got bumped. That is not right. And like I said, I'm going to be speaking to the elected officials about this whole process. You guys have not seen what's coming. And believe me, we're going to sue the pants off of this agency. I'm sick of the discrimination and the racism that we have to face. And special interest groups talking about
Thank you for
manufacturing.
your remarks.
It's
Please
ridiculous.
conclude your remarks. Our next speaker is David Kupferberg, followed by Eric McClure and Michelle Phillips.
My name is David Kupferberg, member of Passengers United. As we know, the Queens Bus Network redesign old draft plan was negatively received. At the time, the MTA, in the interest of good public relations, delayed the proposed final plan to craft the new draft plan. The proposed final plan was then crafted, followed by the final plan addendum that was approved by the MTA board. Guess what? The Brooklyn Bus Network redesign draft plan was negatively received. I asked the MTA to do the similar for Brooklyn, to delay the Brooklyn Bus Network redesign proposed final plan to craft the new draft plan. At the same time, the MTA should invest 1% of New York City Transit's budget, or $126 million, for the Brooklyn Bus Network redesign. The delay is to get it right. Now the fare proposal. The MTA would eliminate the 30-day unlimited. Shame on the MTA. The MTA would force the renting public toward the 7-day rolling fare cap at $35. This effectively reduces the time from 30 days to 28 days. Shame on the MTA. Let's do the math. The price for the 30-day unlimited is $132. The fare for 28 days would be $150, an increase of approximately 13.64%. Shame on the MTA. The MTA would no longer accept points on buses, making it harder for seniors. Shame on the MTA. The Title VI report fails to detail what I had mentioned. Shame on the MTA. So if the MTA continues to claim that there will be no disparate impact or disproportionate burden on minority low-income riders, don't you believe it? Shame on the MTA. Shame on the MTA. Shame on the MTA.
Thank you for your remarks. Our next speaker will be Eric McClure, followed by Michelle Phillips, then David Paul Gerber.
Good morning. My name is Eric McClure, and I'm the Executive Director of Streets PAC, a political action committee and advocacy organization focused on transportation policy. We support the comprehensive testimony on proposed fare changes compiled by the Permanent Citizens Advisory Committee, and would like to further highlight some key items. While it's understandable that the MTA needs to occasionally raise fares to offset increases in underlying operating costs, it's crucial that it do so in a way that encourages more ridership and does not create undue burdens, especially for those with low incomes, seniors, families, and the disabled. We strongly urge the addition of a weekly city ticket with fare capping and a single ride city ticket that includes free transfers to subways and buses. Both are critical ways to offer affordable commutes to working class New Yorkers who live in communities that are underserved by the transit system. City tickets should also extend to rides that combine the Long Island Railroad and Metro North. We also urge the restoration of a 30-day or monthly unlimited ride option. Under the proposed fare structure, the new cost for someone who currently opts for a 30-day unlimited card will increase by double digits. Given what's happened to ridership since early 2020, fares should be structured to incentivize more use of the system, which a monthly unlimited option would encourage. We support the proposal to eliminate the full fare for seniors and disabled from the AM peak on the Long Island Railroad and Metro North. The existing system of charging full fare to people who otherwise receive a significant discount is short-sighted and confusing. We urge the board to adopt this recommendation. We also urge the board to include a reduced fare option for 12 to 17-year-olds on the commuter railroads. Furthermore, the proposal to eliminate ticket activation, while perhaps understandable from a fare evasion standpoint, is hostile to the vast majority of riders who pay their fares. Speaking personally, the 10-trip off-peak ticket is my go-to fare for traveling by commuter rail, which I do several times a month, but in an irregular pattern. We strongly urge the board to reject the current proposal and rethink ways to reduce fare evasion without penalizing riders who use the system frequently, but not for an everyday commute. Finally, while this is largely beyond the MTA's purview, we strongly urge expansion of the Fair Fares program to New Yorkers living at
Thank you
200%
for your
federal
remarks.
poverty level.
Our next speaker is Michelle Phillips, followed by David Paul Gerber and Yuki Endo.
Good morning. My name is Michelle Phillips. I am coming to you speaking for the disabled community, particularly the immune compromised community. I want to speak directly to Accessoride. Accessoride, you have allowed and made some tremendous changes to the Accessoride procedure, but I really feel that you probably should do a little bit more research or partner with medical professions. It is unsafe for someone who is immune compromised to travel with other people. I understand that this is not a rideshare service or they can't guarantee a single ride, but it is something that you need to look into. They do allow, if you're receiving chemotherapy, for you to go to a facility within your borough. That should not be an option. That shouldn't be a barrier. It shouldn't make a difference where your facility is located. You can't help that. I've been diagnosed since 2018 with a cancer. I am not going to change my facility or accommodate my facility to switch my facility to accommodate Accessoride. Accessoride needs to change their rules to accommodate me. Being immune compromised is not something that you indulge in. It's not something that you choose. It is something that has happened, and now we have to live with it, with the grace. So I urge you to please really look into that. It's not an overindulgence. It's not anything that you've done to your body. This is a situation, a circumstance that you have to live with daily, and you deal with it. It affects how employment. Sometimes you're not able to get to employment like you would like to, or engage in the activities or the jobs, you know, that you previously did due to maybe a degree process or whatever it is. So you need to really look into that and consult with medical professions. What does it actually mean to be immune compromised, especially as the season is changing? It does not mean that you can. That's why we don't take transportation. That's why you can't be on a subway. That's why you can't be on a bus, because you can't ride with a large majority of people.
Please conclude your remarks.
So I couldn't really have someone sit directly next to me.
Thank you for your remarks.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is David Paul Gerber, followed by Yuki Endo and Naomi Hevson Ringskog. Okay, we will circle back. Our next speaker will be Yuki Endo, followed by Naomi Hevson Ringskog. Person Ringskog.
My name is Yukendo from Kobe, Japan, speaking behalf of Personal United Accessible Facebook group community in New Yorkers. I do not approve of the MTA buses along with Mexican nice bus, but the secondary feeling buses not able to pay with coins when the fare goes up to $3. MTA should follow other transit bus system to take dollar bills on the fare bill. Please have unlimited network to be added to the only cars, including this fare. Also, only car details cost $5 to access, $1, $2 only car. Because in Japan, transportation car at the store are free and just adding money. And only car at the retail share access free. For the Queen's bus network design, according to one or two bus from Australia was a huge mistake because it had a high relationship between Australia and New Ireland when I lived in New York City. A Q102 bus can originally terminate at 27 Avenue 2nd Street, 30 Avenue 31st Street, Northern Jackson 44, or 21st Street, 36 Avenue, Listen Island 7, Australia 9, Queens Pleasure, Costco, 21st Street, NF Station, MTA Consumer, Railroad need to restore beach package. Thank you for your cooperation.
Thank you for your remarks. Our final speaker is Naomi Herson-Ringskog.
Thank you. Happy to be here. My name is Naomi Herson-Ringskog. I'm an urban planner. I live and work in the city of Newburgh, and I'm interested in the ferry issue as a regional transportation planning issue that the MTA should do better on. This past weekend, I attended the Spirit of Beacon, which was a public parade, as well as Metro North's committee meeting headed by Justin. People want it back. But the more important thing is that we have a missed opportunity to try things, to be innovative. We would like to ask the MTA to pilot a weekend ferry. Why? Justin said that the Metro North is increasing the train ridership for the fall foliage tourism that comes to here. But we could have so much more tourism to both cities and the region. Many of you may not know that Orange County attracts over $1 billion of tourist spending. Dutchess does only $750 million in spending. We have Storm King, Legoland, Lawrence and Angry Orchard, and many other farms. And soon it's going to be the 250th anniversary of America's birth, and we have George Washington's headquarters. The FIFA Cup is not far from now, and we need a regional transportation planning solution. So with that, what I want to ask is that the MTA board and the committee reconsider naming the station the Newburgh-Beacon station. It will show it as a partner city, boost the visibility, support the economic growth. But for equity, it recognizes thousands of residents that actually use and rely the ferry and the station. It corrects the imbalance that is now centered on Beacon, and it signals a commitment to inclusive transit planning that values both sides of the river. So with that, you'll continue to see us. I wish you to come up to...
Thank you for your remarks.
Thank you.
Thank you for your participation and comment. This concludes the public comment session.